Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about this bad boy, how amazing it is and why you should get one, and while you're there you should also hit that like, subscribe and share button and help the channel grow. But in the meantime, let's jump in and let's get waffling. Okay, so as a content creator, I'm meant to talk about said box, about how amazing this is and how you should go out and get one and, all of that good stuff. But as you can tell, I'm about a week late to the party, and this has already been on pre-order and been out for about a week, and the reality of getting one of these is probably pretty damn slim. There may be one or two of them still out in the wild. If you are able to get one, do so. They are very, very good. I am very impressed with the box as a whole. It is pretty impressive. I will say the models are beautiful. We're going to talk about the models more in a second. But yeah, it's a really good book. But we can ignore this and just concentrate on what's in it, because if you're lucky to get one, well done. If not, don't worry, because the main range and everything else is coming probably in the next couple of weeks. So as you can see, I am back from holiday. I had an amazing time in Norway, absolutely phenomenal. I got myself some cool stuff. I got a little bag for my dice for when the Space Wolf come out and release a faction dice. I'm going to get some. I'm going to put them in my little Viking bag. In fact, where is my little Viking bag? Can't find it, so that doesn't matter. It's probably on the shelf behind me. Seeing some amazing things. Norway was definitely everything I expected and wanted it to be, which is absolutely stunning. So yeah, when I got back yesterday, I quickly went round to my local store and picked up my Space Wolf box and a couple of paints, mainly rust grey and Fenrisian grey. And as you can see, I've already made a start on the army. Now, so obviously this video is going to be talking about the box, the models and everything else that comes in it, which is a box that obviously is now probably sold out everywhere. But I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking of clicking off that video and moving off, but don't do that, because I'm going to tell you a story. So when I was a wee lad, very small, I got into Warhammer 40k. In the late 80s, 1987, I used my pocket money and bought myself my Rogue Trader rulebook. In fact, it is still there on the shelf right there. I still have it. And in second edition, when second edition comes out, I got myself this. This is my original codex that I got in the early 90s. All back in all of those days. 1994 I got this book, which is mental to think. And I do have the Angels of Death book, which is the Blood Angels Dark Angel Codex, up on my shelf as well, and I also got that as well. But this book has always been my pride and joy, and it is in immaculate condition. You will it is in immaculate. Okay, there's a couple of the pages are sort of dog-eared and stuff, but like the condition of this book is insane, and the reason for that is because this has been my one real love when it comes to Warhammer 40k. I have always loved the Space Wolves. I love everything about Norse mythology, Scandinavia, the Vikings, and my three favourite things in one army: Space Marines, Vikings, and Wolves. What more could I want? So yeah, when I got this as a kid, I was absolutely blown away, and I had a small Space Wolf army that I played with a lot. I did dabble in the I did have a Blood Angels army as well, but I absolutely loved it. Now, some of my favourite artwork, being like the original artwork for Leman Russ, is in here. Which I remember the White Dwarf, one of the first White Dwarfs I was ever given, had an article with that artwork and the story of Leman Russ and everything, and I was just completely fascinated by that. So I've always loved the Space Wolves. Now, this is amazing. And this brings us really quite a nice little segue into this. Now, this is also really quite good. Now, there are some issues with the book. I'm not going to lie. There are some things in here that are not in here that should be. Like, there is no unit entry for Wolf Lords. There is a really nice sort of lore description of Rune Priest, but there is only one Rune Priest in the book, and that is Najal. I've already done a Codex review, and it's up on the channel if you want to go and check that out. And I obviously did that before getting my actual hands on the physical book. It was from the leaked document. This book is quite nice. Ragnar's been obviously nerfed. There are a few other elements there that are not there that should be there. But all in all, I still think this is a really solid book. Now, there are some really nice updates to the lore in this. There are things like the Longfangs and the Wolf Scouts. A lot of people argued about why is there no Wolf Scout models. There is. You just kind of have to use the Phobos units, which is kind of nicely explained in here now. And the Longfangs are essentially your Gravis element, or your Hellblasters, or your Desolators, or your Eradicators. You're basically your heavy weapon teams for Space Marines now are basically your Longfangs. Now, I think this kind of opens up a really good opportunity for Games Workshop to expand the already impressive Space Wolf range that we now have in maybe 11th edition and beyond. I can completely see a Wolf Lord being added to the mix at some point in the future, as well as a Rune Priest as well. And I can also see the things like the Dreadnoughts also being updated at some stage in the future. Potentially a Longfang squad as well, and maybe a Wolf Scout squad. But yeah, there's definitely scope for them. They're adding flavour back into Space Marines, as I've talked about in another video. And there's definitely flavour in here, but it also has the sort of diluted flavour that we're kind of accustomed to now with 10th edition. All in all, I'm very happy with this, but this isn't the main thing of the video. The main talk about this is the actual miniatures themselves. Now, obviously, if you are new to Space Wolves and you wanted this and you weren't able to get it, have no fear. You know, in a couple of weeks' time, the full launch of the refresh will come out, and all of the kits that will be available will be there. So you are going to get the amazing Logan Grimnar miniature, Ardrak Rockfist, Nergal as well, and you're going to be able to get your hands on the Bloodclaws and the Grey Hunters, the Head Takers, and those Wolfguard Terminators. As a refresh goes, the core of the army's done, and it's going to be so cool when it comes in. I'm absolutely blown away by the detail in these miniatures. You can definitely tell that Darren Latham was the lead games designer, the lead miniatures designer for this this refresh, and it really tells you like Darren has been a massive massive fan of Space Wolves for a long time. And he has a really good little post over on his Instagram channel right now where he's talking about how he got his Wolf Lord in the 3rd edition Codex, which is so cool. And ever since, and that was kind of before he became a part of Games Workshop in the retail staff, and then eventually becoming a heavy metal painter, and now onto the miniatures sculpting team itself, and is now one of the lead miniature designers, which is just fascinating. Now, it's really good and it's really telling because, like, the man loves Space Wolves, and he's really, really talented at doing what he does. But the heads and everything else is fantastic. The kits, the Bloodclaw kit is just amazing. The Grey Hunter kit is just amazing, and the bear heads. Now, for my battle leader, I'm using one of the bear heads from, I believe, the Grey Hunters, and he's kind of got a really cool sort of plaited mohawk on the top of his head, and kind of a smaller beard. I'm kind of going to be using that for him, because the other bears you get from him would be really quite good as battle leaders in the Grey Hunters or the Blood Claws. So going to be using those heads, and this is the really cool thing about the kits, is because a lot of it is interchangeable. You are able to sort of really bring some character element to your army, which is so cool. So I am going to be doing a Space Wolf army. Now, do not worry if you are following me because of the Emperor's Children and stuff. I will be still focusing and working on my Emperor's Children army. As you can see, they are up there on my cabinet, Fulgrim taking pride in place on that top shelf. And there will be a lot more Emperor's Children being painted, and I will continue with my video log as I work on the army. But my Space Wolf army has always been my big passion. Now, I haven't had a Space Wolf army for some time. If you read my latest Instagram post, I talk about it a little bit. I had a 4,000 point fully painted Space Wolf army back in 6th edition. Absolutely, probably one of my best painted Space Marine armies, or armies that I'd done at the time. I do think I'm a lot better painter today than I was then. But at that point, that was like the best that I've done, and I was absolutely really filled with pride with it. It was a really big accomplishment. I think it was about 6 months it taken me to paint the whole thing. And I absolutely loved it. And I had, the army was, it had some of the original metal miniatures that are even in this codex, was in it from 2nd edition and some of the 3rd edition. I had some of the Games Day limited edition models in the army, like so the Sternhammer Wolf Priest. I had like 2 units of the OG Metal Wolfen from the Black Crusade army. Every single squad had individual pack markings. I had my Terminators, my Wolfguard Terminators, which at the time when that came out was the old plastic Wolfguard Terminators. There was a unit of power armored Wolfguard that I could either use as a power armored unit, or I most of the time used them as individual pack leaders for my squads. And that was even some of, I had a couple of spare Terminators that I used as pack leaders as well for throwing in the Terminator armor, which was always quite funny. There's nothing better than having a unit of Long Fangs and then putting a Terminator Wolfguard with a Cyclone missile launcher in that unit to give them a little bit added extra punch. Sadly, you can't do that anymore, but it was kind of cool. But yeah, I had everything. I had Fenrisian Wolves, I had like a couple of units of Thunderwolf Cavalry, and the only real things that I didn't have was Canis and Harold Deathwolf, because obviously I'm a Ragnar Blackmane fanboy. And I had Ragnar Blackmane. I had a Ragnar Blackmane model that I originally had from my 2nd edition army. And then I had a converted Ragnar Blackmane that I converted out of a Crom Dragon Slayer model. And I also had Crom Dragon Slayer as well, because Crom's kind of cool. And it's a bit sad that he's not in the new codex. There's artwork for him, but there's no rules for him, unfortunately. But yeah, I had a lot of fun collecting the army, and it was definitely my pride in place. And unfortunately, I parked my car in an area that I shouldn't have parked it. I should have been mindful of where I parked it. I went to work that night. I come home, I got to the car the next morning, and my car had been broken into, and my army was stolen. The case was taken out the boot. My £200 Realms of Battle tape board had also been taken, because I was going to go to my mate's house later on that day after I had a bit of a sleep, and we were going to be playing some 40k, and I had the big plastic 6x4 table that Games Workshop sold, the Realms of Battle, and that was also taken, and there was a couple of other little bits and pieces. They didn't take anything physically out of the car. They didn't try to steal my radio or anything like that, but they just took they emptied the boot basically. So by the time I was able to sort of give the local store, my local games workshop, the heads up of what happened, by all accounts, two lads had turned up in the store with a case, with a Space Wolf army trying to sell it, and it was probably my army. Unfortunately, no one was able to get to see in the case and sort of challenge them, and they didn't know at that point that my car had been broken into and it had been stolen. So, unfortunately, the army's gone. I have no idea where it ever went. Probably ended up in a skip somewhere or put on eBay or whatever. I'm not fully sure that they knew what they had. But yeah, it was probably either given to somebody or it was binned or whatever. But either way, it's gone. From then on, I didn't really collect Space Wolves. I was kind of like really sort of disheartened, and it was kind of hard for me to get sort of back into the motivation of doing it. And I kind of tried again with Horus Heresy, and I had a smallish Horus Heresy army, where I painted up Lehman Russ, and Lehman Russ was also featured on the Facebook page for Forge World quite a lot. They used my Lehman Russ a few times, which was pretty cool. I'm always quite chuffed at. My Gregor Fellhanded was in White Dwarf as well, which is awesome. And it was pretty cool. But I kind of sort of fell out of love with first edition Heresy and basically sold the army. But for 40k, I've never really gone back to them until now. Now, I knew at some stage that the Space Wolves were going to get a refresh. Didn't exactly know what extent, so I've held off for quite some time. And then as soon as we started seeing pictures of them, it was like, yeah, 100% this is time to pull the pin and time to get back into them. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, this is the start. I will be probably taking a while to paint this. I do want to do a lot of content in regards to the wolves. I want to be doing how I paint the wolves. I'm going to be going for very much of a studio style army. That's how I like to paint. I'll be doing, I want to be doing a video on that. I'll be doing a video on doing bare heads and skins, facial tattoos, fur, and I'll probably do a tutorial on the Fenrisian wolves themselves, because they can be quite tricky and sometimes they can look a little bit naff when you just dry brush them. So we'll explore how to get a really good looking Fenrisian wolves, and this will be really good to translate over to your Thunderwolf cavalry as well. And I want to do a tutorial on a Wolfen, because I really quite like the new plastic Wolfen. They're kind of cool. I know a lot of people give them stick, but I quite like them. And they are quite prominent now in the new codex, either with shields or without shields. So we'll be definitely delving into that as well. And probably for the characters, I will probably do a painting video for Logan and Ragnar, because they're two of my favourite characters from the army. So I want to try to get a lot of content for the army. Now, obviously, I will probably do a painting video log for them. Now, it's probably not going to be as coming in as quick as the Emperor's Children would be, because these are going to take some time to paint. And I want to really take my time and really try to get the best army that I can possibly do. Now, the biggest stumbling block I have right now in regards to what to do with the project is regarding the base. Now, I could go down the classic snow and ice base, because, you know, Space Wolves, snow and ice kind of fits hand in hand, or I could possibly do something a little bit different and go for something like a jungle base. Something kind of little idea that I have regarding making sort of stones look mossy, and looking at different sort of tufts and stuff like that to sort of get that jungle foliage. And I think that would be kind of interesting. But, you know, regardless of which one you would think, let me know in the comments below if you would like to see snow or a jungle themed army, and let me know what you think, because I've got my desert for my Empress Children, and I've got sort of your standard other bases for other stuff that I've done. So ice, And the sort of really funny thing is, when I launched my original blog many years ago, when I first started doing content creating, one of my first tutorials was a snow base. So it would be kind of interesting to go look back at that and see how bad that was, and then what I could kind of sort of do to improve it on this one. But yeah, it'd be kind of cool. The jungle base would be kind of fun as well, because you can do a lot of really cool little things on the base. But I really want to sort of like elevate the army up a lot more with the bases as well. So let me know in the comments what you think. But all in all, I am really looking forward to this. This is going to be amazing. It's definitely going to be my pride and joy and my full passion project. They are by far my favourite army in all of 40k. They're just so cool. I mean, like, the artwork alone, like, look at that Terminator. He's so cool. Like, that's just so cool. It's amazing. And also, yeah, we have lightning claws back, which is really cool. Lightning claws, not wolf claws, lightning claws, which is also great. But yeah, I think that'll be the video. Yeah, so keep an eye out on the channel. If you are here for Space Wolf content and you want to see more Space Wolf content, obviously subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment, and all that good stuff. And we'll be jumping into some Space Wolf content over the next couple of weeks. I will be probably doing a tutorial very soon on a Blood Claw, and we'll probably look at pack markings and how to do the freehanding and everything on the pack markings as well. So bear that in mind. So yeah, that's it. So like, subscribe, share, and all that stuff. If you want to support me in other ways, you can. It's like 99p to go and join the members area, and you know, you can if that starts building up, I'll start putting content into that as well. But you do gain access to the sort of members area only area of the Discord, and there is a link up on the YouTube channel if you want to join the Discord and join the community. So I'll see you over there. But that's the video, beeps. Goodbye for now.